Mayors arrested, massive floods, and opioids? What is going on in this state? But first, let's take a look at how these cities are politically set up. American cities are part of their governing jurisdiction in one of three ways. One, they're surrounded by the county, along with other towns or census-designated places, like here in Warrenton, Virginia. Number two, they can be consolidated into the county. For example, Philadelphia County is the same jurisdiction as the city of Philadelphia, and the government of the Philly is the one local government. Number three, the city can be a completely separate jurisdiction than the county. This is what makes Virginian cities special. Out of all the independent cities in the United States, only 3 are located outside of Virginia. The rest are right here in Old Dominion. Let's go take a look. We start here in Falls Church, Virginia, the smallest city on this list at only 2.1 square miles. But it makes up for it in income. It is the richest city on our list at $155,000 being the median household income. These houses here, adjacent to the metro station, go for about $1.5 million. In 1846, the city of Alexandria and Alexandria County, which is now Arlington County, were given back to Virginia, resulting in the federal district losing 1/3 of its area. The merchants at Alexandria hoped to benefit monetarily from being part of the nation's capital, but disputes over the canal and competition with Georgetown caused the city to stagnate. As a part of DC, they lost the right to vote for president and their congressional representation due to living in the district, as well as potential economic growth as a separate entity. The slave trade was another, though officially unstated, reason for Alexandria's return to Virginia. The slave trade flourished here in Alexandria, and by removing the city from congressional authority, Alexandria was able to keep its business active until slavery was outlawed in the 1860s. State Street in Bristol, Virginia is literally the border between Virginia and Tennessee. University of Virginia is located here in Charlottesville with its famous medical center called the University of Virginia Health System. Chesapeake is the second largest city in the state by population, at over 240,000 people. It has a total of 22 miles of waterfront, which is part of the Intercoastal Highway, which is a 3,000-mile navigable waterway that stretches from the eastern seaboard of the U.S. all the way to the Gulf Coast. Oh yeah, it's also headquarters of Dollar Tree, out of all things. The Keystone Truck and Antique Tractor Museum was the only interesting thing I could find after scouring the internet for anything about Colonial Heights. The town of Covington's economy is dominated by the company called Westrock that has a factory there that makes box packing products. Danville, Virginia is known as the City of Churches because it has more churches per square mile than any other city in Virginia. Also, all these other cities are considered cities of churches in their respective areas. The Virginia Pork Festival was held every second Wednesday in June in the city of Emporia, Virginia. Unfortunately, in 2018, this was officially canceled. Scott Silverthorne, who was mayor of Fairfax City at the time, was arrested on August 4th, 2016 for a drug distribution charge. He was caught in a sting operation by the police who posed as potential buyers of meth on a dating website. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but the judge suspended most of his sentence and gave him credit for the time he had already served. He was released on June 9th, 2017 after spending 3 months in jail. His defense attorney argued that he was not a drug dealer, but a drug addict who had completed a drug treatment program and was remorseful for his actions. The judge also considered his long history of public service and his efforts to overcome his addiction. I do want to point out the average Virginia drug dealer sentence is about 8 years, but he only got 3 months. He's a politician, so it doesn't surprise me. Hurricane Floyd in 1999 caused a great deal of damage to Franklin, Virginia.
I was talking with the manager of Weed First Union. He says he lost $200,000 today.
Probably so.
Computers, gone.
Yeah, everything.
Have you ever wondered where the nation's oldest still running soda fountain is? Well, it is in Fredericksburg, Virginia, at Gulerich's Pharmacy. It is currently under reservation, but at some point it should be open up again. According to censusreporter.org, which makes the U.S. Census a bit easier to understand, in the town of Galax, Virginia, nobody walked or rode a bike to work. Most likely just a rounding error. Founded in 1610, Hampton, Virginia is a city of firsts. It's the first continuous English-speaking settlement in North America, and is the first place in the United States to have free public education for everybody. In Harrisonburg, Virginia, Rosetta Stone was founded in 1992. It is also home to the 20,000-strong James Madison University, one of the largest in the state of Virginia. The city of Hopewell has faced scrutiny due to allegations of operating a speed trap on an almost 2-mile section of Interstate 295, known as the $1 Million Mile. AAA accused the city of deploying 11 sheriff's deputies working long shifts to patrol this stretch, potentially generating about $1.8 million in annual revenue from speeding tickets, mostly from out-of-state drivers. This controversy has led to legal disputes and an official statement from the Attorney General of Virginia. In 2011, the city of Lexington, Virginia faced controversy after the city council passed an ordinance to ban the flying of flags other than the United States, Virginia, and city flag on city-owned light poles. Lynchburg, Virginia is home to Liberty University, which is the largest evangelical Christian university in the world. The Martinsville Speedway is the shortest track in the NASCAR Cup Series at half a mile, and it is one of the first paved speedways in the entire world. It was founded 14 years after the Jamestown colony under the name Newport's News, and is home to the Newport News Shipbuilding, who builds tons of ships for the United States Navy. Norfolk, yes, that's how it's pronounced, is the only Virginian city with a light rail transit. The Norfolk Tide runs over 7 miles with 11 stations. Daily ridership is around 2,500 rides per day, which, after some quick math, is around 900,000. Bonus fact, Norfolk Naval Station is the largest naval port in the entire world. Another small town on this list is Buena Vista, which means good view in Spanish. Somewhat ironically, only about 3% of the people living here identify as Hispanic or Latino. At around 4,000 people, this is the lowest population of any city on our list. This small city of Norton has struggled economically, and many of its residents have become subjects of abuse in the opioid epidemic. From 2006 to 2012, Norton had the highest rate of prescriptions for opioid pills in the entire country. On average, 306 opioid pills per person, every adult and child, per year were prescribed in the city of Norton. Petersburg was Virginia's second most populous city in 1860, right before the Civil War. It has now fallen to number 18 in the state. Poquoson is the oldest continuously named city in Virginia. It is also one of the few to retain the name, which derives from the Native Americans who inhabited the area before colonization by the English. The city of Portsmouth is unfortunately statistically the most dangerous city in the state of Virginia. However, there are still some cool things to do here, like going to the Naval Museum and being able to see some of America's most impressive seafaring vessels.
It's where they keep the nuclear vessels.
Here in Manassas, Virginia, we have so much Civil War history. Check out the video I made about that. Right here is the Manassas Museum, which focuses on the local history. Before the Civil War, this was just a small railroad junction. However, when the war started, it became a crucial point for logistics on both sides. Radford University was founded by the Virginia General Assembly in 1910. The originally women-only college grew out of a late 19th century effort to expand Virginia's public school system and prepare a sufficient amount of teachers for... Richmond, Virginia is the capital of the state of Virginia, and it was also capital of the Confederate States of America between these years when that was a thing. In Roanoke, the Transportation Museum with rail, auto, and aviation exhibits is one of the things you can do. Also, Amtrak runs a once-per-day train that can take you all the way to Boston, Massachusetts. A notable cybersecurity expert and also non-taxpayer grew up in this town, John McAfee. As someone who lives only 5 miles away from Manassas Park, I can tell you it's basically just thought of as part of the city of Manassas. I can count on one hand how many times I've heard people say Manassas Park instead of just Manassas. Many people don't even know that Manassas Park is its own independent city. There's not a ton here in Manassas Park, but they are trying to build this mixed-use area near the VRE commuter train station, which is nice to see. Unfortunately, no one has really rented the storefront, so as of now, it's mostly just residential, but hopefully the area can develop and becomes a center in the community. In 1908, the city of Staunton, Virginia created the city manager form of government when they hired Charles Ashburger to do that job. The city of Suffolk is the largest city in Virginia at 448 square miles, and it is even larger than my home county of Prince William. Absolutely massive. Virginia Beach is the most populous city on this list at 450,000 people, and it also has the tallest building in the state of Virginia, this Westin Hotel. The city is served by 2 freight rail lines owned by Norfolk Southern and CSX, respectively. The intersection of these 2 lines is known as the Iron Cross, a historically significant symbol of the city's economic growth. Williamsburg, Virginia has the 2nd oldest university in the entire country, number 1 being Harvard. Winchester, Virginia is the last but not least city on this list. It's got a nice pedestrianized old town, road with shops and restaurants. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to incorporate story into my videos, so if you have any good ideas on how to do that, please let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.